My girlfriend posted, "Real men don't question their queens," after I found men's cologne in our bathroom. I commented, "Real queens don't need secret kings," and tagged the cologne owner's girlfriend. The comments section exploded, her kingdom collapsed, and I finally walked away free. I'm 29, my girlfriend Maya is 27. We've been together for about 2.5 years, living together for the last 10 months. On the surface, things looked good. We both had stable jobs. She works as a junior manager at a cosmetics company. I'm a systems analyst. Rent was manageable. We split chores, and we had a decent rhythm. Our friends would probably describe us as that couple who's always posting brunch pictures. But I'd be lying if I said I didn't notice the cracks early. Maya has this thing with image. Everything has to look perfect. She curates her Instagram like it's a magazine spread. Every vacation, every dinner, every Friday night, wine with the girls moment is staged, filtered, captioned. At first, I found it charming. She cared about presentation, about memory. But after a while, it felt like I was living in a photo shoot instead of a relationship. She also has a fascination with these online queen empowerment accounts. Pages full of quotes like, "If he doesn't worship you, he doesn't deserve you." Or, "A true king never questions his queen." I'm all for confidence, but the way she repeated those lines to me, half joking, half testing, made me uneasy. "Remember, babe," she'd say after a small disagreement. "Happy queen, happy life." I'd laugh it off, but somewhere deep down, I wondered, was she joking, or was she building a world where I was supposed to accept her word as law? Despite that, we functioned. We cooked together, watched Netflix, split bills. She'd bring me lunch when I worked late. I'd fix her laptop when it acted up. The basics of partnership were there. Until the little things started stacking. She suddenly became more protective of her phone. She'd angle it away on the couch, flip it face down when it buzzed. "Work chat," she'd mutter, even at midnight. Her wardrobe subtly shifted too. More nights out in dresses I'd never seen, with the girls whose names she stopped mentioning. The biggest change was the scent. Not hers, but the smell that lingered faintly on her clothes. At first I thought she'd switched perfumes, but one evening when she hugged me after coming home late, I knew it wasn't perfume. It was cologne. I didn't confront her right away. That's not who I am. Instead, I did what I always do: observe, note, keep calm. My brain works in logs and evidence, not accusations. So I started small. Checked her social media posts more carefully. She'd tag random friends, but the same usernames kept liking every picture instantly. Noted when her girls' nights aligned suspiciously with vague work trips. Paid attention to her tone. Overly sweet when she thought I was suspicious, dismissive when I asked neutral questions. I wasn't sure yet. I didn't want to play detective without cause. But then came the discovery that cracked everything open. It was a Sunday morning. Maya was still asleep. I went into the bathroom to grab some shaving cream. That's when I noticed it, tucked behind her makeup bag, half hidden near the toothbrush holder. A sleek black bottle. Not perfume. Definitely men's cologne. Expensive brand, too. The kind I'd never buy for myself. I picked it up, turned it over in my hand. The sprayer was smudged. The cap loose. Used. For a moment, my stomach dropped through the floor. Then my brain kicked in. Document. I set it down, grabbed my phone, snapped photos from different angles. Bottle, brand name, placement in the bathroom. No accusations. No yelling. Just evidence. That day I barely spoke to her. She didn't notice. Too busy scrolling on her phone, laughing at whatever her kingdom of online friends was posting. That night, she uploaded one of her trademark posts. A mirror selfie in our bathroom, her hair perfect, captioned with one of those empowerment quotes she loved. "Real men don't question their queens." It was the same bathroom where the bottle sat. Hidden, but not hidden enough. I stared at the screen for a long time. My hands didn't shake. My breath didn't hitch. I just felt a strange calm wash over me, the kind of stillness that comes before a storm. I didn't confront her directly. Not yet. Instead, I hit like. Then I typed my own comment beneath her caption. "Real queens don't need secret kings." And finally, the move that would light everything on fire. I tagged someone. The girlfriend of the man I knew owned that cologne. Because I remembered where I'd smelled it before. At a double date months ago. On him. And I knew the war was about to start. IT didn't even take 10 minutes. The first notification pinged. A reply under my comment. Then another. Then 5. Then 20. By the time I refreshed, The post had already tripled in engagement. People weren't just liking her selfie anymore. They were piling onto my comment, dissecting every word. Some laughed. Some defended her. Some tagged friends. OMG, spill tea. But the explosion came from the tag. I'd tagged Sarah, the girlfriend of Derek, the Cologne owner. Sarah is not the kind of person to ignore subtlety. She screenshot my comment, cropped the photo, and reposted it on her story with 3 words. Care to explain? Within minutes, Maya's phone lit up on the couch next to her. She picked it up, smiled faintly, then froze. I watched her face change color. Confusion, panic, anger. She glanced at me, then back at the screen, scrolling furiously. "Why would you do that?" she whispered, not loud enough to be overheard if anyone else was around, but sharp, like a knife. "Do what?" I asked, keeping my voice even. Her eyes darted around as though she could rewrite reality if she looked fast enough. "That comment. Don't play dumb. You." Before she could finish, her phone buzzed with an incoming call. "Derek." She declined. It rang again, Sarah this time. Declined again. Then texts started pouring in, one after another, lighting up her screen like fireworks. She shot up from the couch. "I need to handle this." She went to the bedroom, doors slamming harder than she probably intended. I sat there, staring at the muted TV, listening to the muffled sound of her frantic voice bleeding through the wall. It wasn't rage I felt, not even satisfaction, just detachment, like I'd stepped outside my own life, watching a movie unfold. Her words from months ago echoed in my head. Real men don't question their queens. And yet, here we were, her kingdom collapsing because I'd asked a single question, publicly, but still a question. An hour later, she came out, face pale, hands trembling slightly. "Delete it," she said flatly. "No." Her jaw clenched. "It's not what you think. Derek just left his cologne here once. That's all. You're blowing things out of proportion." "Interesting," I replied. "Because he's been blowing up your phone for the last hour. Doesn't sound like a one-time thing." She flinched, but doubled down. "You're humiliating me online. Do you know how toxic this looks? You made me look crazy." I almost laughed. "I didn't make you look crazy. Your choices did. I just gave them an audience." Her eyes glistened. Not quite tears, more like the shine of someone cornered. "You don't get it. They'll twist this. Everyone will twist this. Maybe. Or maybe they'll just see what's in front of them." Meanwhile, my phone kept buzzing. Friends, coworkers, even casual acquaintances messaged me. "Dude, what happened? Is this for real? You okay?" I answered no one. The silence was deliberate. Let the narrative write itself while I stayed calm in the middle of the storm. Maya, on the other hand, couldn't stop typing. She posted a story, captioned with damage control energy. "People love drama. Don't believe everything you read. A queen handles her business privately." That only added fuel. Replies poured in, screenshots circulated, and suddenly half our social circle had opinions about our relationship. By Monday, the fallout reached beyond social media. Sarah confronted Derek publicly, tagging his job's official account in a rant about men who cheat on their partners with girls who play queen online. Derek's silence said more than any denial could. Maya spent the entire day glued to her phone, alternating between crying and cursing. She didn't go to work. She didn't eat. She just spiraled, trapped in the mess she swore she could control. I, on the other hand, went to work like normal. My coworkers gave me awkward side glances, whispers trailing as I walked by, but I didn't care. My boss called me into his office just to check if I was all right. I told him I was. Strangely enough, I was. It wasn't numbness. It was clarity. That night, she tried another tactic. Soft voice. Gentle touch. "You embarrassed me, but I know I pushed you. I know I post too much. Maybe I got caught up. Can we just reset?" Reset. Like we were a video game, she could restart from the last save point. I shook my head. "There's no reset button here. There's only moving forward. And I'm not sure you and I are heading in the same direction." For the first time, she looked genuinely afraid. Not angry, not defensive, just scared. The irony? She still hadn't apologized. Not once. Every word she said was about her image, her humiliation, her narrative. Not the betrayal, not the cologne, not the secrecy. Her kingdom wasn't crumbling because of me. It was crumbling because there was never a foundation. Only walls she painted gold while the inside rotted. And now, the paint was peeling. I slept on the couch that night. Not because she kicked me out, but because the bed felt contaminated with the lies she'd wrapped herself in. Lying there, I scrolled through the comments again. Some defended me. Some mocked me. Some pitted her. One stuck out. This is what happens when you build your life on hashtags instead of honesty. I don't usually agree with strangers on the internet, but that one hit hard because it was true, not just about her, but about me too. I'd ignored the red flags, laughed off the quotes, let myself be drafted into a play where I was only ever the supporting role. Now the script had flipped, and for once, I wasn't playing along. Update 1. By Tuesday, it wasn't just social media anymore. It had bled into real life. Her friends began texting me, some aggressive, some pleading. Dude, why do you humiliate her like that? You could have handled this in private. She's devastated. Just delete it so things can calm down. But deleting it wasn't the point. Deleting it wouldn't erase the scent of cologne from our bathroom, or the messages she'd been hiding, or the way she twisted reality to suit her narrative. The worst call came from her mother. I didn't know Maya had told her family about the drama until her mom's number lit up my phone. I hesitated, then answered. Her voice was polite at first, almost rehearsed. I heard you've been having issues with Maya. Relationships are complicated, dear. People make mistakes. Issues. I repeated. That's one way to put it. She sighed. Whatever happened, airing it on the internet isn't the solution. You've embarrassed her in front of everyone. Don't you love her? That word, love, landed differently than it used to. I loved the idea of us, the partnership I thought we had. But I didn't love the theater, the manipulation, the gaslighting. So I said, evenly, love doesn't survive on lies. And then I ended the call. Maya tried to corner me later. You talked to my mom? She asked, voice sharp. She called me. And what did you say? That this isn't about embarrassment. It's about truth. Her face crumpled, but not in guilt, in frustration. Like I was breaking the rules of a game she thought she'd invented. You're supposed to protect me, she hissed. That's what real men do. There it was again. That script. That dogma she clung to. But I wasn't playing along anymore. That evening, I took practical steps. I gathered what mattered: my laptop, personal documents, backup drives, a few clothes, and placed them in my car trunk. Not because I was leaving right away, but because I wanted readiness. Then I did something most people don't expect from someone in a relationship crisis. I called a lawyer. A colleague of mine had once recommended a family law attorney after his messy breakup. I found the number in my old email archive. The consultation was straightforward. She asked if we were married. No. If we had joint assets. Only a shared lease and utilities. And if there were threats or domestic issues. Not yet, but I mentioned her volatility. Her advice was clear. Document everything. Screenshots, photos, timestamps. Don't delete the post. It's evidence. Secure finances. Make sure no joint accounts can be emptied. Prepare for retaliation, both online and in real life. It was sobering, but also empowering. For the first time in days, I felt in control. Meanwhile, Maya's spiral deepened. She'd alternate between silence and frantic apologies. Then, just as quickly, flip back to blame. You ruined my reputation. You turned my friends against me. You don't know what Derek means. It wasn't like that. Every version of her story contradicted the last. He was just a friend. Then a mistake. Then someone who understood her better. I didn't argue. I just noted. Every word, every shift, every attempt to rewrite history. I logged it, quietly, calmly. Because arguing with someone who values the performance over the truth is like shouting at a mirror. You only hear yourself back. 2 nights later, Sarah, the Cologne owner's girlfriend, messaged me directly. I'm sorry you got dragged into this, she wrote. I broke up with him. He admitted everything. I don't think he'll bother Maya anymore. But you deserve better than this circus. Reading that, I felt a strange mix of vindication and emptiness. Vindication, because my instincts had been right. Emptiness, because confirmation didn't bring relief, just clarity. Maya had chosen deception, and Derek had chosen cowardice. The show was over. The real kicker came when Maya tried to stage her own counter-narrative. She posted a lengthy caption with a black and white selfie, writing, "When people fear your power, they try to break your crown. But a true queen rises stronger. Thank you to everyone who supports me through the lies and hate." Supporters flooded her comments with heart emojis and hashtags like #StayStrongQueen. But right beneath those, other voices chimed in. Isn't this about the Cologne thing? What about Derek? Queens don't cheat, though. Her kingdom was split, civil war breaking out in her own comments. And me? I didn't type a word. I let it burn itself out while I documented every piece. One night, lying awake on the couch again, I thought about how surreal it all felt. This wasn't just betrayal. This was theater. A production she directed, starring herself, with me cast as the loyal supporting role. And when I stopped playing the part, she didn't crumble because she lost me. She crumbled because the audience saw through the set. The irony? She wanted a king who never questioned his queen. And she got one, Derek, a man who nodded along, gave her attention, whispered flattery. But kings like that don't last. They're props, not partners. And props break when the stage lights get too hot. By the end of that week, I had everything ready. Legal advice, evidence backed up in multiple places, an exit plan. The only thing left was the confrontation. And this time, it wouldn't be a comment online. It would be me, standing in front of her, no filters, no hashtags, no script, just truth. Final update. The confrontation happened on a Friday night. I walked into the bedroom with a folder in my hand, printouts of screenshots, photos of the Cologne, copies of her posts, and Derek's messages that Sarah had shared with me. Evidence, neat and undeniable. Maya sat on the edge of the bed, scrolling on her phone. She didn't even look up until I placed the folder in her lap. "What's this?" she asked. "Everything," I said. My voice was calm, flat. "Everything you've tried to deny." She opened it, skimmed a few pages, and her face drained of color. For once, she had no quick comeback, no ready quote about queens and kings. Just silence. Finally, she whispered, "So what now?" I looked at her. The woman I'd shared meals with, traveled with, laughed with. The woman I thought I'd build a life with. And all I felt was distance. "Now," I said, "we're done." The next morning, I packed the rest of my belongings. No shouting, no drama. Just quiet motions, the sound of zippers, the weight of boxes, the closing of doors. She followed me around the apartment, cycling through emotions like a playlist, begging, bargaining, blaming. "We can fix this, I'll change. You don't understand what Derek meant to me. It wasn't like that. You made me look like a fool in front of everyone. Do you know what that did to me?" Each line made it clearer. Even in her pleas, it wasn't about us. It was about her image, her pain, her crown slipping. When I finally carried the last box to my car, she stood in the doorway, arms crossed, eyes wet but defiant. "You'll regret this," she said softly. I paused, turned to her, and replied, "I regret letting it get this far." Then I left. The weeks that followed felt surreal. I moved into a small one-bedroom closer to work. Sparse, quiet, but peaceful in a way I hadn't realized I craved. No ring lights, no staged brunches, no endless need to perform for strangers online. Meanwhile, her empire continued to unravel. Her follower count dropped by the hundreds, then thousands. Screenshots of our Cologne war kept resurfacing on meme pages, stripped of context but brutal in impact. Every time she tried to post something motivational, the comments filled with references to secret kings and real queens don't cheat. Her friends divided. Some vanished, some turned on her. A few remained loyal but weary. Sarah moved on quickly, documenting her single life with a confidence Maya tried, and failed, to imitate. Derek disappeared from both of their feeds. Like a ghost, everyone pretended not to know. And Maya? She kept posting, but the shine was gone. The captions felt forced, the photos less polished. The throne was still there, but the court had left. People kept asking me how I felt. Coworkers, friends, even distant relatives reached out. "Are you okay?" Man, that was brutal, but at least you're free now. Bet it feels good to be vindicated, huh? But the truth? Vindication is hollow. Catching her, exposing her, watching her kingdom crumble, it didn't bring joy. It brought quiet. Heavy, suffocating quiet. Because when the storm ended, I was left alone with the ruins. Not just of a relationship, but of the trust I'd built, the future I'd pictured. I'd done everything rationally, gathered evidence, prepared legally, stayed calm. And yet, no amount of logic dulls the ache of realizing the person you loved wasn't who you thought. Therapy helped. Not the kind where you spill everything in tears, but the kind where someone reminds you that detachment is still a wound, even if it looks clean. My therapist said something that stuck. "You didn't lose her. You lost the illusion of her." And that's why it hurts. You were in love with a story you wrote together, but she was writing a different script all along. That hit harder than any meme, any comment online. Because it was true. I hadn't just lost Maya. I'd lost the story I believed in. Months later, I ran into a mutual friend at the grocery store. They told me Maya had gone private on Instagram, stopped posting as much, maybe even left her job. I didn't ask for details. I didn't want to know, because her downfall wasn't my victory. It was just her life spinning off in a direction that no longer intersected with mine. Sometimes, late at night, I still hear her words in my head. Real men don't question their queens. And I wonder how many men out there are still playing along with scripts like that, convinced loyalty means silence, that love means blind devotion. But I also hear my own words, the ones I wrote beneath her post, the ones that lit the match. Real queens don't need secret kings. I don't regret typing that. Not because it destroyed her image, but because it was the first time I chose truth over performance. And if there's one thing I've learned from the ashes of her kingdom, it's this. Truth doesn't make you a hero. It doesn't make you popular. It doesn't even make you happy right away. But it makes you free. And freedom, I've realized, is worth more than any crown.